Hi everyone, welcome to Kettlebell Sports Science. My name is Dr. Eric St-Onge. Welcome to episode 4. Today we're going to be talking about how to avoid spine rotation in the bottom position of the snatch. Now for the t-shirt of the day, we got the North American Outlaw Kettlebell Club. And it's a club here in Ontario. It's from Ken Wetham and his wife Sherry. Both amazing people. Can't speak highly about them enough, so please check them out. So what we're going to be looking at today, like I mentioned, the bottom position of the snatch. Now, one of the things that we commonly see at the bottom of the snatch position is someone will end up looking like this. So if we look here, so what are we noticing when we're doing something like this? What we're noticing is, the wedding band back on, is that we're going into rotation here at the bottom position, okay? Now, what we know is that when we go into spine flexion and rotation, so numerous studies have shown that this puts an enormous amount of pressure on the disc. Now the disc is the portion between your vertebrae, so the bones, and going into this flexion position and especially adding in that rotation, again, puts an enormous amount of pressure and stress on the disc, and at that point, you're putting yourself at risk for something called a disc herniation. So that's when the inside parts of the disc, called the nucleus pulposus, will bulge itself backwards, or in some cases just come out completely in the back. And again, some symptoms for those are some radiating pain down the back of the leg, lots of low back pain. I'm not getting into too much detail with that, but if you do notice any immediate pain when you're doing this position, just go see a healthcare professional, please. So, obviously we want to make sure that we avoid this position at all cost. One of the things that we need to make sure that we do now is that when we are in the bottom position here of the snatch, we want to make sure that we have a proper hip hinge, meaning that all the motion is coming from our hips and not our low back. Now, when we ask some people, point to where your hips are, you'll get a number of different things that they'll point to. They'll say, oh, it's right here. So like the two like hip bones right here. Or they'll point to right here. That's actually not true. Your hips are actually right here. So if we look at the actual hips, these are your hips. The hips is a joint. It's not a bony part here. It's not the bony part here. It's in there. One easy way to find them, and I learned this trick from Dr. Craig Liebenson, is put your hands like this, and your thumbs will go right on your pubic bone. So this bony part here, if you're feeling down your abdomen, you feel a bony part, that's your pubic bone. So you put that here, and wherever the crease is from your thumb, that's where your hip is, okay? So now that we know where our hips are, you wanna make sure that we're actually bending at the hips. And again, if you've been around weightlifting enough, and if you do exercises such as deadlifts, squats, RDLs, this should come fairly naturally to you. So one of the things that we can do to kind of teach ourselves how to use this is putting a dowel right here where your hips would be, and practicing just bending backwards, bending forwards by sticking your bum backwards this way. So this is what we would call a hip hinge when we're doing this. So our back is staying, our back is staying in it's a neutral position. So we're stiffening here in your abdomen to keep it in a neutral position, and that's it. Another way that we can do this is by taking your same wooden dowel, putting it behind your back this way, grabbing it back here as well. So now the dowel is in contact with the back of my head, my upper back here, and my tailbone. So keeping these points of contact, go into in this position again. So this will help teach you the hip hinge. So if you notice that if something like this is happening, you know for sure that you're no longer doing a proper hip hinge because you lost contact here. Likewise, if I'm doing this, jetting my head forward, again, I'm not keeping a good neutral spine. So keeping all 3 points of contact and really focusing on jetting your bum backwards. So that's how to do a proper hip hinge while keeping a neutral spine. So now putting it together with the kettlebell snatch. Your snatch will end up looking something, will look something a little bit more like this. So you notice that at the bottom position right here, I'm in a proper hip hinge at the moment. My back is in a neutral position. My bum is jetting backwards this way, which puts your back, everything in the best position possible in order to propel the kettlebell upwards. So from the front now, so if you're observing yourself from doing a set and you can kind of monitor yourself how you're doing, this is what it should look like. Again, right here, instead of this. So this is a good bottom position. This is a bad bottom position. Same thing here. That's a good position. That's a bad position. So your chest should be facing completely forward the whole time. Now, one of the things that we can do to help train ourselves to be strong in this position, because sometimes especially several minutes into a set of snatches, people get tired at this bottom position, they start to lose proper form and end up rotating this way. Some other assistant exercises that you can do in your own training to help stay strong in that position, something as simple as a one-arm row. So literally just grabbing the kettlebell, going down into a hip hinge, so wherever your bottom position, your snatch would be, staying nice and stiff here, then row back this way. So now, a couple of things, you're training, your arms here, your back here, but also the fact that you're putting more weight on one side, you're training your abdomen and your trunk muscles to resist that rotation. Okay, so we're not doing this type of motion when we're doing this exercise. We're staying stiff, good position, rowing back like this. Now, another exercise that we can do in order to train anti-rotation at the trunk is something called a pal-off press. So going to a pulley system like this, choose a suitable weight, bring it out like so, get into a good athletic pose here. So a little bit of hip flexion, a little bit of knee flexion. And what we're going to do is stiffen up here in your trunk muscles, looking straight ahead, then pressing forward. And you're just holding an isometric contraction here. All right, so just hold this contraction for 5-10 seconds, depending on how you want your training stimulus to be, but 10 seconds is usually a good amount of time. Then once that's over, come back here, rest, and get ready for the next rep. You can also vary this particular exercise by having the pulley a little bit higher. So now it's pulling me that way, but I'm not letting it. So squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Or, of course, you can start off with the pulley lower, and hold up here. That's all we have for today. If you you found value in this video, please like it, please share this video with your friends, please subscribe to my channel, very much appreciate it, and until next time, thank you for your attention. Also, if anybody out there is actually good at graphic design and wants to design me a Kettlebell Sports Science logo that I will use in my future videos, please send them along, and if I like your logo, I will use it from now on, and I'll even give you a shout out. So any help is greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.